In this video, we are going to try to write the thunkable app for the quadrant algorithm that we wrote in the previous video. The algorithm takes two parameters x and y of type integer, and it returns, depending on the values of x and y, either this point is in quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4, or if it is on the x-axis or y-axis, or it is on the origin. The algorithm was written and it is displayed here. So what we are going to do is that we are going to go to Thunkable and create a new app. We are going to call it quadrant. No change in category, the public, and then we are going to create. Now, because the algorithm takes two parameter x and y, two text boxes. So to do that one, I'm going to go and drag and drop a row on the screen. So this is my row. Now I'm going to drag and drop two text boxes. So I'm going to go to user interface, the first text box, the second text box, and also I need a button. So all three are beside each other. First thing, I want the button to go to the right, so I'm going to drag and drop it underneath text input 1. Now I'm going to rename the first one to x underscore txt, the second one to y underscore txt, and the button one, I'm going to change it to submit underscore btn for button. Now, the first text box, I'm going to type x, and then the width is, I'm going to change the width instead of 80 to something like 30%. For the y, I'm going to do the same thing, the width to be 30%, and the text to be just y. So now everything seems to be okay, except the button. I'm going to change it to submit. And because I have to display the quadrant, I need an alert box. So I'm going to type alert and drag and drop an alert here. Then I'm going to change the title to quadrant. And since I need only one button, I'm going to change the first one to OK, and I'm going to cancel the second one. So my design is done. Now let's go and write the code. The code starts when the user clicks on the submit button. If we go here, the first thing we check if x and y are equal to 0. Before I do anything with x and y, I'm going to introduce two new variables called x and y. So the first one is x, and I'm going to set the value to be 0 initially, and the next one I'm going to set equal to y. Now, something about the code, when the blocks are too many blocks, on the screen, you can always right click and say clean up blocks. It's going to put all the blocks in order with the space between them. So the first thing I'm going to do when the submit is clicked, I'm going to save the x and y values that the user enters as a number into x and y. So I'm going to go to variables, and I'm going to set x equal to, as usual, I'm going to add 0 to the value that the user enters. So I'm going to take this one and then add 0 to it. Now I'm going to duplicate this one, put it here, change this one to y and this one to y text. So now I have converted the two values into x and y. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check to see if they are both 0. So I'm going to go to control and I'm going to say if, and I'm going to say if both of them are equal to 0, so I need this one. If x is equal to 0, use the variable. So I'm going to say if x is equal to 0, I have to duplicate this one, and this time I'm going to say y, and I need an AND operator. So if this one is true, this one is true, then I'm going to say the message of the alert is going to be on the origin. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to set the message. So I'm going to type at the origin. If this is not true, I'm going to add an else here. Then I'm going to go and check to see if x is equal to 0. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to duplicate this one, and I'm going to say if this one is 0, so I just need this one, and I need another if else here. I don't need this one anymore at the moment, or maybe I will use it later on. So I'm going to say if x is equal to 0, then it's on the y-axis. So I'm going to copy this one and put it here. Then I'm going to say on the y-axis. Now if you go back here, now I have to check for y equal to 0. So I'm going to duplicate here and put it here now. And I'm going to say if y is equal to 0, then it's going to be on the x-axis. When I'm done with these two, I have to check if x is greater than 0 and y is greater than 0. So I'm going to duplicate this one, put it here. But now I need that AND that we had before. So I'm going to bring this one here. And I'm going to take this one and put it here and change this one to greater than 0 and this one greater than 0. And I'm going to put it right here. So if x is greater than 0 and y is greater than 0, then I know it is in quadrant 1. I'm going to duplicate this one again and put it here, and I'm going to say if x is less than 0 and y is greater than 0, then it's in quadrant 2. Then I'm going to duplicate here, and I'm going to say if x is less than 0, y is less than 0, then it's in quadrant 3. And the last one I'm going to duplicate and put it here. So I'm going to say if x is greater than 0 and y is less than 0, then it's in quadrant 4. And I don't need any more else, so I'm going to go here and take the else out. And that's the end of the design. The only thing which is left is to initiate the alert to show the message. And the place that I put it is right at the bottom here. So I'm going to go to alert, take the show and put it right here. And that's our app. Let's go and check it. Let's say the user enters 0, 0. It says at the origin. If the user enters 0 and 1, let's say, then it's going to be on the y-axis. If the user enters -5 and 0, then it's on the x-axis. If the user enters 1 and 3, it's in quadrant 1. -2 and 3, it's in quadrant 2. -2 and -9, it's in quadrant 3. And 2 and -9 is in quadrant 4.